everybody, and welcome to Arrowhead Stadium. The Cincinnati Bengals and the Kansas City Chiefs on an absolutely gorgeous Sunday afternoon in Kansas City. I'm Charlie Jones, along with Todd Christensen. The one question all week long, everybody asking. I'll ask Todd, will Joe Montana start?
Well, Joe Montana's not going to start. He's going to be the emergency third quarterback. Did not take a single snap during the week of practice, but it's a good thing that they have Dave Craig. More and more throughout the National Football League, we're realizing that teams to be successful have to have two quarterbacks.
And Dave Craig last year won 10 games as the starting quarterback for Kansas City. But to win in the National Football League, it takes more than your quarterback. You do it defensively, and that is pointed out by the last 5 Super Bowl winners.
To get to the big dance, you have to play some defense. Take a look at Dallas, Washington, Giants, and San Francisco, all in the top 5 in total defensive rank.
And how does that apply to the Kansas City Chiefs?
Well, the Kansas City Chiefs are second in the National Football League, but you take a look at some of the other teams, the Giants, Minnesota, Raiders, Pittsburgh. Are they going to be in the Super Bowl? Well, I'd have to say at this point, Charlie, we're only a fourth of the way through the season. It remains to be seen.
Those are just the early returns, you might say. Now, if the Kansas City Chiefs are to dominate, they can rely on 2 men, one of whom is...
One of them has to be Neil Smith.
Yes.
4 sacks last week against the Los Angeles Raiders, the franchise player. And, of course, the other guy who they look to is Derek Thomas, their rush backer. But look for Neil Smith to be dominant today. He came on with a bang after having some contractual problems early in the season.
And here is Marty Schottenheimer, the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs. Their record is 3-1. And Dave Shula, he is still looking for his first victory of the season for the Cincinnati Bengals. And the weather, we said it was gorgeous. We weren't kidding. It is 51 degrees, the humidity 56%. This is football weather in the Midwest. And the forecast is clear and more of the same. Cincinnati won the toss. They will be receiving. That means, of course, that number 8, Nick Lowry, will be kicking off with Eric Bell and Patrick Robinson, the return men for the Cincinnati Bengals. And Eric Ball will down it in the end zone for the touchback, and Cincinnati will start from their own 20-yard line, first down. That offensive line for Cincinnati out in front of the young quarterback Dave Klingler will be Joe Walter, Moyer, Kazurski, Rayam, and Jones. Klingler that we talked about with Green, Finner, Quarry, Pickens, and McGee.
When they go to the third down package, Reggie Rembert comes in for Hill. Green is the third wideout.
First down, Cincinnati, the ball at their own 20-yard line. And the open on the ground, and Dan Saliamua is there to wrap up Harold Green. And Cincinnati would like to establish a running game, but it is going to be very difficult to establish it against this front 7 of Smith, Phillips, Saliamua, Thomas, Rogers, Simeon, and the secondary.
Lewis Ross, Whitmore, and when they go to their dime package, Dale Carter, former starter at corner, comes in along with arguably the best special teams player in the National Football League, Benny Thompson.
Hostel Miles is now in that offensive set. And the give is to Finner on a sweep left, and he is going to lose. Again, it is Saliamua who is making his presence felt at the beginning of the ballgame.
Well, it wasn't coincidental, the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs are first in the National Football League against the run, only giving up 48 yards a game. You can see Saliamua just comes down, comes on a stunt, comes over Ethan. He's absolutely untouched as he gets Fenner and puts him down on the 12. Let's not forget also, Charlie, that the Cincinnati Bengals have not exactly been successful running the ball. They're 27th in the league in that category.
Third down and 17. And they take the straight shot up the middle rather than risking going to the air deep in their own territory on third down. They figure they'll just go ahead and run and then follow it with the punt.
Well, at that point, 3rd and 17, the very thing that they didn't want to do is get the crowd into the game early, and that's exactly what's happened.
So Lee Johnson will be kicking to the Chiefs' Dale Carter, and Carter will be able to give Kansas City excellent field position when they come on offense for the first time in the ballgame. Ballgame just underway, no score. And a return on good kick. And Carter will take it back at the 35 with a right return. He's across the 50 to the 45, cuts back at the 40.
Lost it. He fumbled.
Loose at the 40-yard line.
25. Cincinnati's got it.
And the Bengals come up with it at the 25-yard line. Ricardo McDonald knocked it loose from Dale Carter.
By Ricardo McDonald.
Well, the wedge is set up on the right side. Watch a crushing block there that springs him, and Carter makes all the moves. Now the last guy there is the punter, and that's exactly what it is. Lee Johnson strips him, but can't hold on to it himself. It lays there on the ground, and the recovery is made by Leonard Wheeler. Look at the right hand here, the punter. You don't usually see him clever enough to do that. Lee Johnson, former BYU punter, is able to strip the ball loose, and Wheeler recovers. Big turnover for the Bengals.
49 yards on the punt, a 33-yard return, then the fumble. Then the recovery, in Cincinnati on offense for the second time in the ballgame, this time from their own 25-yard line. They stay on the ground. Here is Harold Green. He's going to pick up a couple of yards on the right side. Tracy Simeon was there for Kansas City. And it's going to be second down and 8.
Harold Green is somebody that they've been counting on. Remember last year, Charlie, 1,100-yard rusher and a Pro Bowler. This year, he has really struggled. His average per carry is less than 2 yards, and certainly you can blame some of that on his holdout and the shuffling in the offensive line. But Harold Green really has to get it going for the Bengals to be competitive.
Carl Pickens goes wide to the far side, a slot as the offensive formation. Finner comes wide to the near side, pressure from the backside. Klingler steps away. He's going to run for it, gets a block, and then he slides, and he's going to pick up the first down in the ball game for Cincinnati.
One of the things that Marty Schottenheimer told us about David Klingler is that he was tough to knock down. Watch from the left of your screen. Derek Thomas is going to come in. He's got the sack, but he can't wrap him up. 6'4", 215, and now Klingler takes off. Athletic ability after running that run and shoot there at Houston, you can see. And he does pick up the first down. Excellent athletic play by the young quarterback.
And Neil Smith came limping out of the ball game for Kansas City. First down, Cincinnati. No score in the ball game. The ball at the Bengal 36-yard line. They go back to the ground, and that's where they prefer to stay. And Harold Green he may get a yard. That's going to be it. Let's call it second down and 9.
He was tackled by Doug Terry.
Well, as we mentioned at the top, the Kansas City Chiefs and how successful they have been, tops and stops. Take a look at where they rank first in all these very significant categories. Rush defense, opponents' points per game, and average gain per play. You know, we mentioned the fact that Joe Montana really overshadows that. Really, the key to the success thus far for the Kansas City Chiefs has been their defense.
And Neil Smith back into that defensive set. And again, Cincinnati staying on the ground. Harold Green gets a call. He'll go to the 41. He's going to pick up about 3 on the play, so it's going to be third down and 6.
Very interesting point here, Charlie. David Shula told us yesterday we're very committed to the run, and thus far, that's exactly what's happened.
And that they had a bye last week, they made some adjustments in their running game, particularly inside running game from tackle to tackle.
Well, I think that they'll acknowledge the fact that maybe they don't have quite the athletes that the Chiefs do, but if they can take some time off the clock and get some big plays, they feel like maybe they can be competitive.
From the shotgun, and the pass is incomplete. Jeff Quarry, the intended receiver. We have a flag down, and we have Klingler down.
Albert Lewis came on the corner blitz and absolutely hammered Klingler, and that's what the penalty was, roughing the passer. They came with a flanker screen to the left, and Klingler really took a shot. Remember 2 weeks ago, Charlie, we had the game against the Seattle Seahawks. His head hit the turf. He had a concussion then. And boy, he is motionless right now.
Personal ball, roughing the passer, number 29, hit to the head.
Watch from the right. Here he comes right into his face. He jumps up and jumps into his face and hits him in the head, and that's a good call by the official.
Hitting into the head. Right there
at the last. Yeah. You can see. Oh gosh, as he pulls his neck down. Oh no. That's just, you know what? The ball is gone. That's just totally unnecessary. Oh, I'm glad he's standing up and he's all right. Why do you have to do that? All right, make the hit. But when the ball is long gone, what's the point of that? No point at all.
No point at all. So with the penalty, the ball goes to the 44-yard line of Kansas City. And Jay Schrader is now the quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals. Schrader came into the ball game a couple of weeks ago, and Todd mentioned the concussion that Klingler had. He did a very good job. And Cincinnati continues to stay on the ground. Harold Green is going to go to the 41-yard line.
And now Klingler's back in. That's good to see. Inevitably, when you see that neck go back and his feet are planted and his back goes back, that's always frightening. Ah, the resilience of youth, thank goodness.
Yes, a young neck.
That's right.
That's true.
That's exactly right.
Second down and 7. The ball at the 41-yard line. Kansas City has not been on offense. Harold Green again, this time on the left side, and he's to the 39, maybe the 38-yard line. Tim Newton makes the tackle for the Kansas City Chiefs. Joe Phillips is also there.
Well, this will certainly test the resolve of Klingler here on third down. Is he well enough to be able to throw after this? Look at this right here. Now at the end of the play, right here. Why does he have to drag his right hand across his head? That was unnecessary. That's where the flag came in.
The ball at the 39-yard line. And here is Finner, and he is going to go to the 30-yard line and pick up the first down. Derek Finner picks up the first down for Cincinnati.
One thing that has happened is with Neil Smith on the bench, they switched sides and they had Derek Thomas, their rush backer, on the left defensive end. Watch him come up the field, number 58, and he literally takes himself out of the play. You can see right there, number 48, pushing Derek Thomas out of the play, enabling Finner to cut up field and get the easy first down. It's all well and good when you have great pass rushers, but they have a tendency to take themselves out of the run stoppage. That's exactly what happened there.
And again, back to the running game. Here's a stiff arm by Harold Green. He tries to get around the corner. David Whitmore moves up from defensive safety to make the tackle.
Early in the game, Cleveland has a touchdown lead over Miami. This is interesting. We mentioned the first series, 3 and out. The crowd went crazy. Now, after the turnover, a lot less noise, I noticed, and that's exactly what David Shula was looking for.
Hoping that the offense of Cincinnati early on would take the crowd out here at Arrowhead Stadium, because the crowd, once they get into it, they can cause a lot of penalties, and have caused major penalties against the last 2 opponents the Chiefs have faced here, because it's simply the offensive line could not hear when they went to the audible. Harold Green again with a call, and the running game now takes Cincinnati to the 25-yard line of Kansas City, where it is going to be third down.
Gain of 2 yards. It's 3rd and 5.
You can see that there in the graphic there in 1992, 1,170 yards and a Pro Bowl here in 1993, only 57 yards. It goes without saying that Harold Green has struggled.
Doug Belfry is the field goal kicker for the Cincinnati Bengals. Has not been that successful as we anticipate what might come about. He has hit only 3 of 7. Klinger, good protection, drops it in underneath, and the pass is complete, and a first down, and out of bounds is Reggie Rimbert, who has become Mr. Third Down for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Excellent pass protection by the front line of Cincinnati. Reggie Rimbert comes across on the crossing route. He'll come into your screen from the right, unencumbered. His man evidently got picked off. Rimbert, 6'5", 210 pounds, is a load after he catches the ball. The protection for Klingler in that case was outstanding.
So it is first down and goal to go. The ball at the Kansas City 7-yard line. We have 6.5 minutes left to go. We're in the first quarter. We have no score.
And Neil Smith is back in the ball game, Charlie. That's going to make a big difference.
Klinger timing pattern in the corner, had Tony McGee wide open, and he overthrew it.
Oh, he really did.
A touchdown got away from Cincinnati.
Tracy Rogers had him in man coverage, and they're actually discussing this now. He's going to run what's an out and up move, and he buys the out fake. Look at him as he goes up, and Klinger just had a little bit too much on it, or else you're right, Charlie. That would have been a sure touchdown. McGee has really established himself last game, a big game against the Seattle Seahawks. 7 catches for 102 yards. He's established himself as a quality pass-catching tight end.
Second down, goal to go, 7-yard line. And here is Green. He'll spin to about the 5, where it's going to be third down and goal to go. And the interior defensive line of Kansas City all had a piece of that play.
You know, have we done this enough that you know my favorite play is down here when you got a quarterback like this? I really like a quarterback draw. Got the big tough kid, 6'4", 250, and can run.
And he can run.
Take the 3 steps back. Have the big guys come from the outside on the pass rush.
This is what the Bengals have done inside the 20.
Here you have the 3 wide receivers. Just spread them out a little bit. Go to the I'd like to see that. I think they're going to throw the ball here.
Klinger rolls right, fires, passes behind the intended receiver, who is Jeff Quarry, and it will be 4th down, and the field goal team will come in.
Well, that was ill-advised. Even if he catches the ball, he's at the 5-yard line, he's going to get stuffed. He had Pickens open in the middle of the field, but clearly what happens with the young quarterback, he rolls right and makes the decision before he looks. 1, 2, 3, he's looking at one guy. There's the throw behind. Even if Corey makes the catch, he's going to get stuffed there at the 5. Now, normally, you would think of this as a sure thing, but as you mentioned earlier, Belfry has really struggled.
He's hit only 3 of 7 at 2 blocked.
2 blocked field goals, exactly. So this is hardly a gimme here at 23.
From the 13-yard line, an attempt at 23 yards, and this one is good. From 23 yards away, and Cincinnati moves out in front by a score of 3-0.
On NBC is brought to you by Coca-Cola Classic. Always the real thing, always Coca-Cola. By Mazda. Mazda, it just feels right. By your Allstate agent for home, auto, life, and business insurance. You're in good hands with Allstate. And by Goodyear, #1 in tires.
Kansas City will move on offense for the first time in the ballgame from their own 36-yard line, trailing by a score of 3-0. Dave Craig is the quarterback. And he gives to Kimball Anders. And now let's go back and take a look at number 37, Leonard Wheeler, the Cincinnati Bengals, and see if you can find something wrong.
It's easily explained. See, he came down and he bumped a guy, and then this guy bumped him, and that's the penalty. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I don't get it. What are you talking about? That's absolutely nuts.
There was not a penalty there.
No. I don't get that at all.
No.
Especially, correct me if I'm wrong, don't the defensive people get to be a little bit aggressive? I mean, where was that? It's crazy.
That's the string. 2nd down and 7. Greg Gaudreau fires over the middle, hits the back of a Cincinnati Bengal, and it is incomplete. Now for an update, let's go to New York City.
All right, Charlie, first possession of the day for the home team in Cleveland culminates in a 14-yard pass from Kozar to Michael Jackson as the Browns go up 7-0 on Miami. This was set up by a Jackson to Eric Metcalf end-around pass. And it is Cleveland 7, Miami nothing. Back to Charlie and Todd.
And here the score is Cincinnati 3 and Kansas City nothing with 4:41 time remaining. We're in the first quarter. First time the Chiefs have been on offense. And now they face a 3rd and 7. Craig stands in, good protection, fires into a crowd, and it is incomplete. He goes to Mike Dial, the tight end. The Bengals had double coverage. Lance Gunn and Rod Jones were there. And it will be 4th down, and the Chiefs will be kicking.
Dial on the in route after the motion. You're absolutely right. Craig tries to force this one into the crowd. He's very lucky he got this one back. Good play on top by Gunn. And Jones, if he doesn't go for the hit, might be able to pick it off.
So Kansas City 3 and out, and that means that Brian Barker will be kicking. Valerio is the snapper, and Patrick Robinson is the return man for Cincinnati. Pretty good kick, and it turns over. He'll take it at the 18-yard line. A right return on. There's a flag. They're going to call a hit from behind. And this is something that we see so many times, and it is really a mistake on the player because they simply should just stay away. It had no effect.
Absolutely foolish.
Yes.
He had no reason whatsoever. Ball pushes him in the back, completely away from the play. You're absolutely. This is the sort of mental error. We mentioned that Cincinnati, one of the youngest teams, if not the youngest team in the National Football League. When you get out there, the young people want to make an impact. They want to be a part of things, but you have to have the intelligence to realize that what you're doing here has no impact whatsoever on the play, except now in a negative sense to move them back 10 yards.
And what quarterback David Klingler of Cincinnati told us, he said,
block in the back, number 42 on the return team on the run back, half the distance to the goal, 1st down.
That's on Eric Ball. He said, eventually, we have to grow up. And now the officials will take a timeout. We'll step aside. Cincinnati has the lead, 3-0.
Somebody, whether it's illegal or illegal, that's a classic case of that.
Costly mistake, so Cincinnati starts now with a first down from their own 9-yard line, and we can count on them to run. And here is Harold Green. Now, when we talked with Dave Shula, the head coach of the Bengals, yesterday. He said, we are going to run, we are going to run, and he wasn't kidding.
You know, there's a funny thing here is that you come into this game and you see, okay, Cincinnati 27th in the league against the rush. They're not going to be very effective because Kansas City is the best defense against the rush. And that's exactly what's happened here in the first quarter. The offensive line is creating some holes.
And the change will come out for the measurement. And Harold Green has already picked up 25 yards rushing, and we have just over 4 minutes left to go in the first quarter. Cincinnati out in front, courtesy of the Doug Belfry 23-yard field goal. And they lead 3-0. And Shula said we're going back to the basics. And they certainly are.
25 yards already for Harold Green. Remember the graphic that came up coming into the game, he had 57.
Klingler throws, the pass is complete. This is a first down to Carl Pickens. And of course what running all of the time does, establishes a running game, and it opens up the passing game.
Absolutely. Their star player, Carl Pickens, he's the man they feel eventually is going to be a Pro Bowl, and that's exactly, there it is. Play action pass. It sucks the linebackers up. Look at the gap underneath. No linebackers between Rembert and Klingler. Easy completion, easy first down.
So spot the ball at the Cincinnati 34-yard line. Thus far in the ball game, the Kansas City Chiefs offensively 3 and out. They had a punt return and a fumble off of the punt return that Leonard Wheeler recovered. And that set up the drive to the field goal. And here is Derek Finner off of the left side. And he's going to pick up 3 yards on the play, maybe 4. One of the things that Cincinnati says they wanted to capitalize on is the fact that Neil Smith and Derek Thomas, both great pass rushers, are not that involved with the running game defensively.
Yeah, but Dan Saliamu and Joe Phillips are, hence the reason why they're only giving up 48 yards a game. But thus far, you got to give a lot of credit to the interior of the Cincinnati Bengals. They've been doing a good job moving some people off the ball.
And you saw a shot of Neil Smith. Play action fake, roll right, pass has a man wide open and completes a big first down. And it is Jeff Quarry.
Once again, as you mentioned, Charlie, the play action fake, and this time the misdirection, the bootleg. Watch, he gets everybody moving to the left, thinking that it's a run. He rolls out to the right, and here comes Corey across the middle, just completely unencumbered. Great job of play calling on the part of Mike Pope to mix up the passes now in this series.
A gain of 24 yards on the play to the Kansas City 37-yard line.
Are you surprised by their effectiveness
yes.
so far?
I am stunned.
Look at this.
Yes, look at that. 104 yards total offense to 3 for Kansas City. 7 first downs to zip. And here's the reverse, and it's fumble. And they're going to throw off it. That is a giant mistake.
Oh, he got it. Oh, no. Oh. He almost had it.
I thought he had it.
What do you mean, giant mistake?
It still is. You sure it was that?
Not.
Yes, it was.
No, throw it up. He actually
threw it up with 3 defenders there.
I think
can't do it.
No. I think he was trying to throw it away, and he trusted Corey to be able to say, look, if he doesn't catch the ball, the other guy's not going to intercept it. That's exactly what happened.
Terrible
The whole
play.
thing gets goofed up. No, look at Pickens. Good athletic play. He steps back. He throws it up. Look at how close Corey comes to getting this, because if he runs with the ball right there, Charlie, it's a 15-yard loss. Lewis is lucky there that he stripped the hand away right at the last minute. Look at this. He's got it. That's a catch. Right there, Lewis strips the right arm. Otherwise, it's a touchdown for the Bengals.
It wasn't a bad
No,
play.
it wasn't. No, it's a good play.
Second down and 10. And Green slips the tackle. And he goes to the 25-yard line on 2nd and 10. He has 12 and a first down.
The point there, if you get past those interior 2 people, Joe Phillips had penetration up the field, but he misses Green in the backfield. And as soon as he misses Green, take a look. Watch 75, busts through a guard. There he goes, misses the tackle. Great downfield blocking on the part of both the receivers and the tackles, enabling Green to go all the way down to the 25 for the first.
1 minute, 34 seconds of counting, time remaining. First quarter, Cincinnati leads 3-0. Kansas City has done absolutely nothing. Klingler has pressure, slips away, and he is going to be down. And now let's take a look at the natural gas quarterback efficiency ratings. And Joe Montana, that does not surprise anybody.
Not at all. A little bit deceiving, though, as we mentioned, only 3 games thus far with that efficiency rating. I'm sure that they wouldn't mind his efficiency rating dropping a little if he would participate in a few more games.
Boomer Esiason, and look at John Elway. Elway having by far, I think, the best season of his career, early part of the season.
He's a happy camp.
Yes, he is. He had a good ball club. And here is Green on the right side, and Harold continues to be the workhorse. And we've got a penalty flag dropped on the play. So that will stop the clock with 57 seconds. That is the time remaining in a very surprising first quarter. The penalty against the Cincinnati Bengals.
Interesting point yesterday in talking with Marty Schottenheimer. Despite the bad average of Harold Green, Marty told us this guy can play. He said, don't be deceived by the numbers right now. We're concerned
Illegal
about
formation on the offense. Number 66 was on the end of the line. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
To further that point, Schottenheimer was mentioning the fact that Green is a player. Don't be deceived by the fact that he's averaging less than 2 yards a carry. And here, at least for the first quarter, he's turned out to be pressured.
So the ball just outside the 31-yard line of Kansas City. It is second down. And 16. And we have jumping in contact by Neil Smith.
Now, wait a minute. That's the tight end. So the tight end actually can move a little bit. It'll be interesting to see what they decide. Okay.
They're going to call it against Cincinnati.
Now, see, that's his point right there.
Number 82 on the offense prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
All right. Does he go towards Neil Smith? Now watch to the right of your screen. There's number 82. Watch what he does. Okay, he flexes a little bit, but he's at the end of the line. He can actually do that. He can move sideways. He didn't cross the line of scrimmage.
Not today.
So technically.
Not today. Second down and 21. Klingler. Good protection. Fires down the middle. A great reception.
That was.
Inside of 4 defenders. Quarry pulls it down, and Klingler nailed it.
I tell you, he did. I was about to say not just a great reception, but a great throw for the young quarterback. His confidence has to be at a high right now.
Yes. And we have come to the end of a surprising first quarter. Cincinnati leads it 3-0. 36 yards. The Chiefs only 3.
Is it too early to say on any given Sunday?
This is a given day.
Nope. Far too cliche and still too early, but it is surprising how dominant Cincinnati is going to win the game.
Third down and 1.
Oh, I'd like a play action pass right here. I really would. It'd surprise the heck out of him.
Here's the first down. Finner goes over the top. Did he lose the ball? Look at they're scrambling for it. No, held on. So Finner will pick up the first down.
I tell you, the big surprise here, Charlie, despite the running and we keep talking about, is the way that the offensive line for the Bengals are moving these Chiefs off. Very surprising to create the holes. Here, 3rd and 1 jammed in there. Finner just pounds in there for nearly 3 yards.
And they're doing it against an outstanding run defense of Kansas City.
The offensive line for the Cincinnati Bengals thus far has really been maligned. But give them credit here in the first quarter. They've been outstanding.
They've had an awesome first quarter. And here is Green again straight ahead. And he's going to pick up a couple of more yards. Let's see where they spot the ball.
Take a look at up front. Watch the white shirts and look at where the red shirts end up. They're moving backwards. Look at that. It's nothing fancy. It's just that they're moving the red shirts backwards, and that's a big surprise, as you mentioned. A lot of Pro Bowlers on that defense, big tough guys with reputations, but again, Cincinnati surprising everyone.
The ball just inside the 9-yard line. And here is Green. This time he's going to lean to the 7. Maybe inside the 7. David Whitmore was there for Kansas City.
Bad cut there by Green. He had it back to the middle of the field. It looked like he could have gone the distance, and now he's a little shaken up. He's going to have to come out here on 3rd down.
They're going to spot it at the 7, and it is 3rd down.
Once again, a reminder that it's all well and good to pile up all this yardage, but has been happening throughout the National Football League. It seems to be between the 20s. They have to get in the end zone.
And Cincinnati takes the timeout. We'll be back in a moment. Harold Green has already rushed for 43 yards. Now, after this ball game, stay with us. Don't rush away. Second half of the doubleheader on NBC. The Jets and the Raiders for San Diego and Pittsburgh. And the crowd has been taken out of the ballgame by Cincinnati. Everybody says they want to do it. Well, the Bengals certainly have done it. And this is a very vocal crowd here in Kansas City, but not at this point. Now they're trying to get back into it. but it's almost like the enthusiasm is not there. They know the Broncos not playing that well. Klingler timing pattern in the corner. Kid is caught, and they're going to rule it out of bounds.
Great timing.
Pickens did not come down with both feet in bounds. Klingler now is going to come over and argue.
Klingler's not real happy about it.
He says they were pushed out. Well, we'll take a look at the replay.
Watch the feet. Are both feet in?
No, neither one.
Whoa, that's close.
Yeah, but neither one.
Oh, that is close.
Good call. Official's right there.
That is close. Certainly the left foot is primarily on the chalk, so you're absolutely right, Charlie. Good call by the official. And
From the 15, field goal attempt of 25. Belfry is hit from 23, and he is now 2 for 2 in the ball game. And Cincinnati moves on top of Kansas City 6-0. Mysterious masked man is Fred Jones. He is the return man for Kansas City, and that mask that he is wearing is to protect a broken nose that he suffered earlier in the season. And when it happened, he didn't realize it was broken until he blew his nose, and his entire face swelled up, and one of his eyes closed down, and they were really concerned about it. But he has this mask to protect him, and he's back in there. And he is going to field it at the 6-yard line. He's to the 15. He's going to be wrapped up around the 20-yard line. Be sure to stay with us tonight here on NBC, as we have, as always, an outstanding lineup for you. Eyewitness video. Sequest, that's really been a great hit. And David Walper presents The Flood. You know, David Walper, the producer of Roots, North and South, and Thornbirds, the NBC world premiere movie of The Flood. And let me tell you, David's a friend of mine, and if he does it, it's worth watching.
Name dropper.
Name dropper. He's a big golfer.
Oh,
yeah, he is. Oh, he's a nut for playing golf. Kansas City from their own 20-yard line, trying to get something going. They haven't done anything so far. And here's a little play action and a throwback to Andrews on the far side. And he is going to go out right at the first down marker. Darrell Williams chasing him. Time of possession thus far for Cincinnati, almost 14 minutes. 13:57. For Kansas City, 1:10.
No, that's what happens. 3 and out. Here's the man signaling in the plays. Interesting in talking to the players about the reaction to having Joe Montana on the team. They kind of like the fact that he distracts, takes away all the attention from them.
And he brings another plus. First down to the 30-yard line. What might that plus be? I'll tell you in a moment.
He's a pretty good player.
Hey, the plus is television. When we talked to Neil Smith, he said, I like Joe Montana. He brings national television to us, and we get to show off our defense.
Quote by Marty Schottenheimer regarding Dave Craig. Better offensive team right now with Dave Craig than we were in '92. And as you pointed out, they did win 10 games with him last year. So with Joe Montana down, certainly they're not concerned over the fact that they have somebody inexperienced or somebody that hasn't done the job. People forget Dave Craig, 3 Pro Bowl appearances.
Yes. Second down and 9. And Craig hands off to Harvey Williams. He slips as he makes his cut, only gets back to the line of scrimmage, maybe a yard on the play, and that's about it. Now for Dave Craig, this is his 3rd offense in the last 3 years.
It's interesting.
He had the Seattle offense. He had the offense here last year. This entirely new offense, in a way similar to the Seattle offense. When I asked him about how familiar is he with this offense, with everybody says this is Joe's offense and he reads so well. And that he said in the high 70s, so say 78% of the offense, and that is a confidence level also.
Well, it is, and people forget that if you're another position, you can just learn your position. If you're the quarterback, you have to know what everybody's doing in that offense, so that makes it that much more difficult.
3rd down and 8. Pass far side is complete, and it is going to be a first down. Marcus Allen pulls it in and has the first down. First time that we've seen Marcus with the football this afternoon. Tim Crumry makes the tackle.
Well, as you know, Charlie, there aren't too many things I'm expert at, but there's one thing I know, and I've seen this guy do this time and time again. Make the good catch out of the backfield, little funk, move to the left, 33 years of age. He can still catch it, still get that first down. And the numbers prove that. More than likely, before his career is over, he'll be the 2nd back to catch over 500 balls, along with Roger Craig. Great football player. Super Bowl MVP, league MVP in '85, rushing leader in '85. There's not a whole lot he hasn't done in his career.
And it is a first down. Here's a sweep to the left side by Anders. And he's going to cross the 45 around the 46, maybe the 47-yard line. Darrell Williams moves up and makes the stop.
Kimball Anders, a free agent from Houston. In fact, he was a teammate of David Klingler's there at the university. One of those guys who's struggled to make the club, but now that he's made the club, he's really made a major contribution, not just as a lead blocker, but Marty Schottenheimer told us he's also a quality runner. We've seen that now on 2 occasions.
In case you just joined us, Cincinnati out in front of Kansas City by a score of 6-0. Doug Belfry with 2 field goals at 23 and 25 yards. Play action fake going deep into coverage, and it is incomplete. Willie Davis, the speedster. He is from Altimer, Arkansas. That's about 45 miles from Little Rock. He was the intended receiver at South. He said when we asked him about the size of his high school, we'll take another look at the play. He said, when I was in high school, there was about 1,500. Now there's only about 1,000. How many on the football team? Not enough to scrimmage. That'll give you an idea.
He definitely went both ways.
You know, that's such a great story, though, that the kids from all over the country in small towns can go and play in college, and if they're talented enough and pay the price enough and they really want it enough, that they can make a career in the pros. Here's the blitz. And it is a fumble and a scramble for the ball.
Oh, Marcus didn't get it.
And Cincinnati is going to come up with the football.
That's a big break for the Cincinnati Bengals. Ron Lynn, the defensive coordinator, told us yesterday that he was going to come with some safety blitzes and try to confuse things, much the way Dennis Smith was able to do earlier on the Monday night game. And Marcus isn't happy with himself, and rightly so. He was all by himself to recover that fumble, and he didn't get it. Watch the blitz coming from the side. There's Darrell Williams, the free safety. Great blitz, and watch what he does here. He bats the ball away, gets away from Craig, but Marcus is all alone. All he has to do is fall out, and he can't get it. He can't get it. There come Wheeler and Williams. Craig doesn't see it. The ball bounces loose. Does a good job batting the ball away. Now look, there's nobody there. Just fall on it, but he can't. And the recovery is made by Mike Brim, the other corner.
And it is a first down at the Kansas City 28-yard line. Play action fake into the end zone. It is incomplete. Carl Pickens went up for it. Could not come down with it. Carter had the cover.
And the smile you see on Carter is because, hey, partner, how are things? We were teammates at Tennessee, both first-round picks 2 years ago. Carter not fooled by the play-action fake at all. Stride for stride with Pickens. Pickens tries to go up and take it at its apex, but Carter's right there to bat it away. Excellent coverage.
And a pretty good throw in that situation with that kind of tight coverage, because Pickens can go high with that vertical leap and pull it down.
Absolutely. Between 6'2" and 6'3". Both of them Tennessee teammates.
And it is second down. And this one is knocked away by Neil Smith. Now Neil wants to get the crowd back into the ballgame for the defense of Kansas City.
And rightly so. At this point, after the big turnover, if the Kansas City Chiefs can force a field goal, that would be a major victory. Neil Smith with a wingspan of over 7 feet. That's a tough guy to throw over.
If there's a high wind, he'll take off down there. The Bengals have converted 3 of 6 third down opportunities. And this is 3rd and 10. Here's pressure. Sidearm pass is complete on the right side, and that is going to Craig Thompson, the backup tight end. And Klingler is nailed again. He's taking quite a beating today.
Barely got that away. Once again, Neil Smith right in his face. Watch the left of your screen. Number 90 comes underneath. There's no help. He gets hammered. Now, it's a good catch by Thompson. You say to yourself, well, big deal. They didn't get the first down. That extra 6 yards is going to help Belfry. 43 is much better than taking the shot. Put more in on the safety blitz, knocking Klingler down. 42, 43 yards. Much better percentage than at 50.
Call it a 42-yard field goal attempt. And it is up, and it is good. So Doug Belfry, who had been struggling as a kicker, is now 3 for 3, and the Bengals lead it 9-0.
Pontiac dealer, we are driving excitement. By Xerox, the document company. See your documents differently. See your business differently. By Hager wrinkle-free cotton pants. 100% cotton, 0% wrinkles. And by Budweiser, fresh, pure, natural, proud to be your Bud.
Here in Kansas City, Cincinnati out in front of the Chiefs by a score of 9-0. Fred Jones is the return man for Kansas City. And Lee Johnson kicks off. Bobble by one of the umpires, that's Todd McNair, and then he comes up with it and has a good return on the far side before Eric Ball finally runs him out of bounds. And for an update, let's go to New York City.
Thank you, Charlie. Earlier we told you about Charles Barkley's collapse at last night's Phoenix Suns practice. Here's the update. Barkley was looked at in Flagstaff, where it was determined that he should have x-rays and an MRI in Phoenix, so he'll make the short trip to Phoenix, undergo those tests today. However, Barkley's feeling much better, and it's quite possible he'll be back on the court tomorrow. NBA stars falling left and right, Charlie, but we talked to Marv, and he said yes about his availability.
Boy, I hate to see that. I really do. I hate to see any of those.
You mean Marv being available?
Oh, he's always available. He's been available for 35 years. And that's just to do your hair. Here's fake left, throwback to the left side, and it is incomplete. Good defensive play by Darrell Williams. J.J. Burton, the intended receiver, he came over to break it up. And it's going to be second down back of the Kansas City 37.
This is as good a throw as you can get right here by Craig. Look at, he puts it right on the hands, but Darrell Williams anticipating he rises at the same time as the ball. As you mentioned, great defensive play.
So spotted again at the Kansas City 37-yard line.
He's not a happy camper today. Darrell Williams, of course, a graduate of Miami. Probably didn't like the results of yesterday's game against the Seminoles.
Congratulations to Florida State.
Absolutely. They're definitely #1.
No question about it. And here is Marcus Allen as he will slide through for 4 or 5 yards. So yesterday, the Seminoles chopped down the Kings. The Atlanta Braves chop has been at work in the playoffs. And we haven't seen much of the chop here today.
No, not at all. Well, 9-0 when you're down. There's not a lot to chop about.
You and I are chopping, and nobody's paying any attention to it.
Right.
You feel silly doing this?
Yes,
I do too.
This is a visual medium after all. Right? Here we are chopping.
And nodding our heads. Yes. 3rd down and 4. And Craig to throw. Little swing right side. This pass is complete to Anders. Anders cuts back at the 40. Slips another tackle inside the 30-yard line. Kimball Anders. 28 yards on the play. Excellent run after the reception.
Well, you live with the blitz and you die with the blitz. Cincinnati Bengals watching the middle. They come with a number of people. The inside backer who would normally have Anders in coverage is nowhere to be found. Absolutely nowhere. And Anders does a good job running with the ball, cutting back to the middle, avoiding some tacklers. 28-yard gain, 1st down. First big offensive play for the Kansas City Chiefs.
And a key block by wide receiver Willie Davis when he made his cutback to the inside. At the Cincinnati 30, a 1st down for Kansas City. Bengals on top by a score of 9-0. And here's Anders sliding to the outside. And he is finally nailed by Lance Gunn.
Interesting point here, the one-back offense. We've seen Kimball Anders be featured thus far. And, of course, you know, the running backs usually you think of here, of course, are Harvey Williams, the 1st-round pick, number 44, and, of course, Marcus Allen. But thus far, Kimball Anders seems to be the offensive star.
It'll be 2nd down and 2. The ball at the 22-yard line. 6.5 minutes. That is the time remaining in a very fast-moving first half. The Cincinnati Bengals with 3 field goals by Doug Belfry of 23, 25, and 42 yards. And a fake to Marcus Allen. And the throw downfield is complete to Jonathan Hayes. And they're going to mark it at the 11-yard line.
One of the most likable guys in the National Football League, Jonathan Hayes. 6'5", 248 pounds. He is known for his blocking, but here in the misdirection, they just leave him alone. He cuts across, makes the catch. He has a group called Hayes' Huddle, which is designed to help those people with diabetes. That man right there, 6'5", 250 in the National Football League, and he's a diabetic. A lot of credit given to that man for what he's made in terms of his contribution.
Joe Montana looking on. It's a 1st down at the 11-yard line of Cincinnati. Montana is still bothered by the hamstring, not scheduled to play at all today. And here's Marcus Allen. Marcus has 100 touchdowns in his career. He got his 100th
He got his 100th last week against the Los Angeles Raiders, and I'm sure that that had to be sweet.
And it was in this end of the field.
Well, he's coming out now, so he's not going to get it on this. Not get 101 on this play.
Not unless we have a scoop.
I really think, you know, and you have to figure that he would have been challenging the top people had he not been relegated to the subservient role that he was there with the Raiders in the last couple of years.
Craig, little timing pass, end zone, touchdown, Kansas City. Tim Barnett. So Kansas City finally on the scoreboard with 4:49 left to go in the first half. And with the extra point, a chance to pull within 2 of Cincinnati. And Nick Lowry will attempt the point after. And we have all kind of contact and pushing and shoving without the ball being snapped. And it will go against Kansas City.
Ball start on the offense, number 61 to center. 5-yard penalty.
How can the center have a false start when he's trying to snap the ball?
Oh, it can happen a lot. What he does is he flexes his hands on the ball.
And everybody goes.
Or in a lot of cases, since I snap for punts, I can tell you this, you flex your buttocks a little bit. Sometimes you can do it before the ball is snapped, and that's what the officials say.
So this will be from the 15, an extra point attempt at 25, and it is good. And that makes the score Cincinnati 9 and Kansas City 7.
Joe Montana, of all people, Charlie, said that Dave Craig is a better touch passer than he is. Well, whether or not that's true, we see right there they've got 7 points.
Cincinnati 9, Kansas City 7, 4:49, time remaining first half as Lowry kicks off. And this is Eric Ball on the return, looks for a block, turns upfield, 25, little hurdle outside the 30. Good return, close to the 34-yard line. And we'll step aside. We'll be right back to Arrowhead Stadium. Craig said the hardest part of the Kansas City offense was getting the play from the sideline.
Well, here he obviously got the right one, because the zone defenses that have been so effective inside the 20 for other teams in the National Football League in this play is not for Cincinnati. Barnett gets behind Lance Gunn for the 6. Coming right at you, we mentioned the touch pass of Dave Craig. This really is a nice touch right here, right to the back of the end zone, enabling him to get both feet down easily.
Cincinnati leads by 2, 9-7. And they have a first down at their own 34-yard line. Klinger off of the shoulder pads of Craig Thompson. It's incomplete.
Craig Thompson is a pass-catching tight end. In fact, earlier, before McGee had his big game against the Seattle Seahawks, he was the one that came in on 3rd downs, and he had a lot of room to run. Even though it was behind him a little bit, he should have caught it.
One-back offensive set with Derek Finner. Harold Green has not returned to the offense. Remember, you saw him on the sideline. They get a stinger in his shoulder that they were working on. And here is Finner, slides to the outside, and he will be cut down at the 36-yard line. Now let's go to New York for an update.
All right, Charlie, armchair critics have been saying less Mark Ingram, more Tony Martin for the Dolphins, but now Ingram gets his say as he takes that 13-yard touchdown pass from Dan Marino's 2nd quarter in Cleveland. Dolphins go on top of the Browns, 10-7. Back to Charlie and Todd.
And here are the scores: Cincinnati 9, Kansas City 7. And now the crowd, a sellout crowd at Arrowhead, starting to get back in the ballgame. It's been very quiet in the first half. And we will have flags, and they're going to stop the play. As one of the chief defenders really got a running start.
That looked like the right tackle flexed.
Flexed, and he took off with him. And it will go against Cincinnati. As you know, from tackle to tackle, once you go to your 3 or 4 point stance, you can't move.
On the tackle, right tackle number 66, prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
And we'll mention the crowd noise because the crowd noise here is very loud for an open stadium. And if there's any kind of a change of the offensive line or being able just to hear the snap count,
well, and also
cause a problem.
And also the fact that Dan Jones is a rookie free agent from Maine, and he's going against an all-pro Anita Smith. That might have something to do with it.
Good protection for Klinger. Throws. Nice pass, and it is incomplete. On target to Carl Pickens, and Albert Lewis there was another outstanding defensive play for Lewis.
Well, he does get his hand in there, but I think Pickens would tell you that that was a catchable ball. You can see the frustration on the part of Shula's face. Coming right at you to the right of your screen. Watch Lewis will get his hand in, but the ball gets into his chest. Good play by Lewis.
And Dale Carter is the return man. Lee Johnson will be kicking for Cincinnati.
Carter had a terrific return last time, but coughed the ball up at the end of the play. Oh, man.
Oh, great kick.
It's a satellite.
Woo.
Look at that.
9-yard line on the return. Out of the 15, looks for a block. Stiff arm, gives ground, in trouble. And gets some of it back. 61 yards on the kick by Lee Johnson. Alex Gordon with the tackle for the Cincinnati Bengals. And next Saturday, NBC Sports World will present the Breeders' Cup Preview, the final prep for horse racing's championship day, in a great field of horses competing in the last tune-up at famed Belmont Park. That's the Breeders' Cup Preview next Saturday at 4:30 Eastern Time. Kansas City at their own 19-yard line, trailing in the ball game by a score of 9-7. And Dave Gregg drops it off to Ernie Johnson on the left side. And the clock will continue to move. Alfred Williams with the tackle.
Marty Schottenheimer not afraid to use his reserves. As we mentioned, you know, the featured players are Williams and Allen, but now Ernie Thompson, who doesn't have much playing time, comes in with a big catch for the Chiefs.
And Harvey Williams and Kimball Anders will come into that offensive set. 2:47 and counting time remaining. This is in the second quarter.
Has Williams carried the ball yet?
I don't recall him carrying the ball. Here he does. He has been bothered by a little bit of a toe injury, and that may be the reason that he hadn't been carrying the ball. McDonald and Gunn on the tackle for Cincinnati.
Well, I can tell you from personal experience, having toe problems, it's no fun to play on the AstroTurf. That's something that really
Because it grabs.
can be lingering, really lingering. In fact, I remember one year Calvin Hill missed the entire season with turf toe.
Yes. Larry Zonka problem a ways back.
What if Craig's aware of the 2-minute warning? Just got it off.
Wants to go deep, comes back underneath the coverage. I think he was throwing that one away. Jonathan Hayes would have been the intended receiver. We have the 2-minute warning at 1:56. We'll be back.
Craig's not very happy about it either. 3rd and 1. Why not run the ball? And the clock stops with a 2-minute warning anyway. And you can see the frustration on Craig's face. What the heck were we doing throwing that ball downfield on 3rd and 1? And now we have to punt.
And so Kansas City now with 1:56 left to go in the first half, facing a 4th and 1.
Paul Hackett, the offensive coordinator for Kansas City, and I'm sure that he's second-guessing himself as well, evidently not realizing that they had the 2-minute warning there, and the clock would have stopped anyway.
And so Brian Barker will be kicking to Patrick Robinson, the rookie from Tennessee State, the return man for Cincinnati. Not that good a punt, end over end. Taken on the run, stopping a reverse to the 45, and he returns near midfield. Dale Carter makes the tackle. Be sure to stay with us. At halftime, we have an outstanding interview for you. Of course, we have the usual on Domino Pizza's NFL Live halftime report, and that's all the scores and highlights. But O.J. Simpson sits down and has a football visit with Boomer Esiason. It's really interesting, and Boomer's having an outstanding year with the New York Jets.
Terrific.
And so stay with us for that interview on the Domino Pizza NFL Live halftime report.
The reports of the demise of his left arm were greatly exaggerated.
Yes. So Cincinnati with A 9-7 lead. And the ball at their own 48-yard line. Klinger slips a little. He's going to pick up a couple of yards on the scramble right up the middle to the 50-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 8. And we have a minute and a half left in the first half.
2 yards on the play, 2nd and 8.
Derek Thomas was there for Kansas City. You have a tendency in this situation to look for number 80, Carl Pickens of Cincinnati, to see if they want to send him deep. Because he certainly can get deep, and Klinger has the arm to throw it. So they come back with a short pass to the opposite side, and that's to the tight end, Craig Thompson.
Craig Thompson.
Mistake on the part of the young tight end.
Does not get out of bounds.
The momentum was taking him out of bounds anyway, and I know he wants to get that extra yardage, but give yourself a chance to come back here and not have to use a timeout. Now they're in a hurry, and you don't want to be in a hurry on 3rd down. You want to get back in the huddle, regroup, get the play call.
3rd down and almost 3. They call it 2, but it's a little bit longer than that. Klinger's pass is there, and it will be the 1st down. It is caught by Thompson, and it's at the 40-yard line. And Cincinnati will take a timeout to stop the clock with 38 seconds left to go in the first half. And Cincinnati out in front by a score of 9-7. Doug Belfry with 3 field goals at 23, 25, and 42 yards. And after that, his 3rd one, we were watching him along the sideline while we were away on a commercial, and he was like a politician running for office. He was shaking hands and high fives and congratulations from everybody as he was working the bench and certainly enjoying it, and justifiably so, because he has had kind of a spotty year up to this point, and it's really neat for the young man to come out and hit 3 for 3, and he feels good about himself.
Well, the reason they hired him, or kept him rather, over Jim Breach was they felt that he had a little bit better leg. And so depending upon what the offense does here in the series, they might have to test that, because Belfry supposedly had better range than Jim Breach. But there are a lot of people calling for, in the fans, Breach, Breach, earlier in the season when he was 3 for 7. But perfect today.
Belfry, the rookie from Kentucky, was taken in the 8th round of the draft. Here's the 1st down at the 40. And they go back to the running attack, and here's Derek Finner.
Not a bad call. 30 seconds in running, you might not think so, but that gives them that 5 yards and also gives the defense something to think about.
Now at the 35-yard line, it's 2nd down. And we have a flag on the play. That will stop the clock. Finner, the ball carrier. Neil Smith may have been offside.
I think it was Derek Thomas.
Was it Derek?
And that's a big mistake, because that 5 yards now puts them right in field goal range.
Kansas City offsides.
Derek Thomas has been frustrated because they've been double teaming him every play. The left tackle, Derek Finner, has come over practically every play on a passing down.
On the defense, number 58, 5-yard penalty.
And so trying to get that extra edge and being frustrated, he moves just a little bit too quick, and now at the 30-yard line, they're within Belfry's range.
1st and 10.
Timeouts remaining. The Chiefs have 3 and Cincinnati 1. And now the ball at the 30-yard line and a 1st down. 15 seconds left in the first half. Here comes the blitz, and the pass is incomplete.
Wow.
The strength of David Klingler, he got hit, did not go all the way down. He was throwing the ball away, saving the yardage. A great play.
That was impressive. That was very impressive.
Martin Bayless and Albert Lewis are both coming on the blitz. Look what Klingler does.
Lewis is completely untouched. Look at that. Hits him right in the back. There's Bayless, and he gets the ball off. Now, it was close to his knee being down, but either way, that was a great athletic play and superior toughness on the part of the young quarterback.
11 seconds left. First half. Just trying to pick up another yard or 2. Finner gets the call, and Cincinnati will take the timeout, and they take it with 5 seconds left. Now, normally, they like to take it with 4 seconds left, because sometimes with 5 or 6, time does not expire on the field goal attempt, and then you have to kick off.
But he sprinted right to the official. Once again, he's a young quarterback. He knew there was 11 seconds left. He had no idea, so as soon as the play was that, he ran over there. He's not the savvy veteran. He just wants to get it off before.
But we had this earlier this year. Remember when they took it? We had a team that took it like with 7 or 8 seconds left.
There's still one play.
Yep.
And after that California-Stanford game, you never know.
You never know what's going to happen. That's true. So now Doug Belfry will have a chance to go 4 for 4 in the first half. And the surprising Cincinnati Bengals leading Kansas City at half.
Well, a 46-yarder here, that's going to be a tough kick, but that would, you know, being up by 5, that's big. And that could give them the momentum heading into the second half.
He's going to spot it at the 37, so it's going to be a 47-yarder.
Saw by the graphic, this would be his longest of the season if he hits it.
And he's got it from 47 yards away. And guess what? There's 1 second left. We have a flag on the play. There's a flag on the play.
They're definitely not going to take those points off the board.
No, you don't take those off the board. But there is still 1 second left, and so that means that Cincinnati will kick off to Kansas City.
Interestingly enough, last week against the Raiders, that's exactly what Marty Schottenheimer did, is that they got a penalty on a field goal.
Running into the kicker on the defense. Penalty is declined. Good.
You know, the so-called book tells you not to take points off the board, but that's exactly what Marty did, and they went in for the touchdown. So in this case, though, this many yards away and with only 1 second
no, they
left.
were a little bit closer.
Don't have to be Fellini to figure out that they're going to take that field goal. Nice snap. Here's the kick coming from the side. That's Daryl Carter. His foot lands, and that's pretty ticky-tack.
That's ticky-tack.
But fortunately, it's inconsequential.
And so the 47-yard field goal comes with 1 second left in the first half. And Cincinnati now has moved out in front by a score of 12-7.
And a very quiet crowd, isn't it?
Yes. And be sure to stay with us at halftime for all of the highlights and scores from around the National Football League. And, of course, O.J.'s interview with Boomer Esiason. It is very quiet out there.
Interesting thought here. 1 second left. Nothing's going to happen, right?
Onside kick.
Exactly. Good chance. How did you know that? That's exactly what I was thinking.
Because you're in a weird mood today and you come up with something like that.
No, but I mean, think about that. How many times do you get in a game condition the chance to practice an onside kick? This would be ideal.
Onside kick. No, actually, that's just a script kick. It's falling on. Clock starts soon as the ball is touched by a member of the return team. And now we'll have a pushing and shoving contest. And they'll break that one up. Officially, it is halftime. And at the half, Cincinnati out in front of Kansas City by a score of 12-7. And we'll be right back after these messages from your local station. With the kickoff by Lee Johnson, Fred Jones will let the ball go through the end zone. Kansas City will bring it out to the 20-yard line where the Chiefs will go to work. But let's check in with the Coors Light halftime statistics.
Well, the thing that stands out here clearly is that 2-1 in 3 major categories: first downs, total yards, and possession. And that's the very reason right now that the Bengals are up by 5 points.
Cincinnati 12, Kansas City 7. And the Chiefs will move on offense from their own 20-yard line, first down. Dave Craig is the quarterback. Joe Montana is listed as the 3rd quarterback for Kansas City. Still bothered by the hamstring, not expected to play. Craig comes out throwing. This pass is incomplete. Now, during halftime, one of the greats in the history of the Dallas Texans and then Kansas City Chiefs, this was linebacker Sherrill Hedrick, and he was inducted into the Kansas City Hall of Fame 1960 to 1967, and his teammates were here, and as you see, he was in a wheelchair, but with a little bit of assistance, he walked out to the middle of the field. And then when it came time for everybody to leave, all of his teammates picked him up on his shoulders and they carried him out. It'll be 2nd down and 10 for Kansas City at their own 20-yard line. And this pass is caught by Willie Davis, and that's a great catch, leaning back and low with defenders all over him. It's going to be shy of the first down. That is a good reception.
Just a hook route to the outside. You're right, the ball is thrown low. Actually pretty good coverage there by Brim, but the ball's where he couldn't get to it. And Davis, who Marty Schottenheimer calls a self-made receiver. He said he had 2 assets: speed and intelligence. He had to teach himself to catch the ball. But you can see by the numbers there, he's been the focal point of the offense.
3rd down and 1. And here's the first down, and it's Marcus Allen who picks it up. We had a nice visit with Marcus yesterday. Of course, you all are very close friends. And I noticed the difference. I mean, he was laughing and kidding and joking, and you were kind of knifing each other. And a lot more fun just to visit with than he has been the last 2 or 3 years.
Clearly animated. Over the last couple of years, he wasn't very happy in Los Angeles. And in fact, that's what he verbalized to us, which was simply, I didn't enjoy going to work these last couple of years. Now I do. And they have clutched him to their collective breasts here in Kansas City.
Yes.
They really like him.
Kansas City first down at the 34-yard line. Marcus comes in motion. Craig scrambles. Buys a little more time. Scrambles some more. And is going ahead for the sideline. And he is going to... Now, here is something very interesting. Very interesting. If we can look at the end of that play, where he is and where he goes down, and there was no flag, and there should not have been a flag. But with Joe Montana, same situation. There was a flag a week ago.
Well, this is the very point.
And this is what you were talking to me about. Well, we've been arguing about this all week. That's the reason I bring it up.
Well, that was clearly out of bounds, but the momentum of him took it out of bounds. Take a look at where the initial contact is made. Yeah, that's in bounds. He's trying to strip the ball. But it ends up about 5-6 yards out of bounds. You contrast that with the situation last week, and it was a similar situation. But Joe Montana is Joe Montana. He's trying to protect him.
Second down and 9. Oh. And Marcus Allen is nailed. He'll get a couple of yards. Tim Crumright. Now let's go back to the Joe Montana play last week.
Here's what happened last week. Watch him roll to the right, and Aaron Wallace is right in your picture. Now watch where the initial contact is made. It's still in bounds. But the momentum of him outside, he trips over his own man right there. That's still in bounds. He trips over his own man, bumps Montana, and sure, it's out of bounds, but there was nothing malicious about it. That got the flag, and that got the hamstring. I'm not saying this is extra protection necessarily for Montana, but when you have 76,000 people booing like crazy, that certainly has to influence the officials, and that's when the flag came.
Earlier, you were saying it was extra protection for Montana. It's third down and long. Craig, high, only going to pass is blocked by Mike Dial.
And right there, you know what Lance Gunn is telling Mike Dial? He's saying, you didn't want any of that anyway. You didn't want any of that because you knew you were going to get hit. He's trying to psych him out right there, but this is a terrific throw by Craig. Right in the middle of the field, right in the hands. You got to catch that. Got to catch it. Because then you get the reputation, if you can't catch the ball in the middle of the field, you say, hey, you know, you're not a tough guy.
Is he wearing tack-a-fight gloves?
A big deal. How many catches? Steve Largent had 819 catches without him.
Here is the kick by Barker. And Robinson is the return man. Starts right, cuts back, slips the tackle, makes a couple of nice moves, has 3 or 4 yards on the return, 44 yards on the kick, a 4-yard return. We've got a timeout, and Cincinnati has the lead.
Carter, authentic apparel and headwear of the NFL. By Coors Light, aged ice cold for that pure taste of the Rockies. Reach for the silver bullet, the right beer now. By McDonald's, what you want is what you get at McDonald's today. And by Mitsubishi, the new thinking in automobiles.
And here at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, the passing yardage in the first and second quarter for Cincinnati. Second quarter belonging to Kansas City. The Bengals had the yardage in the first quarter. And here is the return of Harold Green. And he's not going to pick up anything. It'll be second down and 10. The ball's still in the neighborhood of the 23-yard line.
Determined to run here. You can see they have their 2 tight ends set. Both McGee and Thompson are in the game, and now with Green back, this is what they want to do. They want to get him the ball, and they want to take some time off the clock.
And as you saw on the 10-minute ticker, that Dan Marino is out of the ball game for the Miami Dolphins. And here, of course, Dave Craig has been going all of the way in replace of Joe Montana for the Kansas City Chiefs. Cincinnati leads it 12-7. And we've got flags and whistles. And a long play-action fake by Klingler.
And an interesting conversation between Klingler and well, I tell you what.
Number 66 on the offense prior to the
I'll tell you right now what Klingler is doing is that he's trying to assert a little independence there. He's not going to take that guff even though he's a young quarterback. Watch the end of the play. Smith just knocks the ball away from Klingler. Says, hey, what are you doing that for? You heard the whistle, so did I. I don't want any part of that. He said, and don't talk trash to me either. I don't care how many times you've been to the Pro Bowl. I'm the man on this club, so knock it off.
He said all of that?
Yes, he did.
And that's a short period of time.
Very assertive on the part of the youngster.
Second down, Klingler to throw. Fires this one. It is caught. Carl Pickens. And they'll mark it at the 27-yard line. Every time the crowd of the Kansas City Chiefs starts to get back in the ballgame, Cincinnati just quiets them down.
Much to the right of your screen, watch Derek Thomas, left tackle and running back. Every time number 58 is coming in now, they have two people on him. They absolutely do not want their so-called rush backer to beat them. Thomas is getting frustrated.
Third down and 5. Little swing into the right flank, and that's to Derek Benner, and he will be dropped for a loss. And Cincinnati will be kicking.
And that will assuage the frustration of Derek Thomas there. Finally, he got single coverage, but they threw the quick ball out to the running back who was supposed to block him, and Thomas comes completely across the field to make the play. There it is, the inside move, only one guy on him. Look at the speed, coming clear across the field to make the play on Fenner. That's something you can't teach.
And so Lee Johnson will be kicking to Dale Carter. And just a fair kick. Couple of bounces picked up by Carter. He's to the 40, 45, and then out of bounds.
That's an outstanding job by the special teams of the Kansas City Chiefs, that the ball could bounce, come up, and he'd have enough room to get it to nearly midfield. Great special teams on the part of the Kansas City Chiefs. Schottenheimer in his coaching tenure has never had a losing season, but you can see there he hasn't been terribly successful against the AFC Central teams over the last couple of years. Last time they won was 1990 against the Cleveland Browns for whatever reason. And certainly today you would have thought he'd have got off the schneid, but right now
12-7, Cincinnati out in front. The Bengals with 4 field goals. They have yet to score a touchdown. Kansas City 1 touchdown. Here's pressure from the outside, and Craig is wrapped up by Alfred Williams.
Now you see right there when he looked and he went like this and waved his hands, no, no, no. That's because when you have that misdirection fake, 94 is unblocked. You can see he's supposed to buy into the play fake, but he does not buy it at all. He goes straight for Craig and gets the sack. And then when he gets up and goes, no, no, not going to fool me. No way.
I was waiting on that.
That's right.
So it's a loss of 8 on the sack. And it'll be second down and 18. And Craig to throw. Has pressure from the backside.
And that's Williams
knocked
again.
Away, and it's Alfred Williams one more time.
But when we talked with offensive coordinator Ron Lynn, he told us that they have 2 guys that have to make plays. James Francis, number 50, is one, and Alfred Williams, their outside backer, is the other. Here he comes from the right of the screen, coming over the right tackle with the arm underneath. He makes it by Tom Ricketts, who is playing in place of the injured Ricky Sigler. In fact, Derek Graham was the one who was originally slated to be there at right tackle.
And one thing about the Kansas City Chiefs, they have a mix and match offensive line down with injuries and players that are playing out of position. And they've been struggling with it today. Craig now rolling to his right. And he throws downfield, and they're looking for a flag. They're going to get it. The defender got there too soon.
Now here's an interesting point there, though. Why did the flag come from the guy in front of the receiver as opposed to from behind, who is the guy that would have the vantage point?
I think they came from both ways, to tell you the truth.
I only see one flag. Once again, though, we come back to the mental mistakes on the part of the young team. And the reason I say that is this.
But it was pass interference.
No, but my point is this, Charlie. Here you've got it, what, 3rd and 20, 3rd and 19. Even if the guy makes the catch, it's going to be 4th down. You've got to be conscious of that.
Interference, number 31, first down.
So I don't know what Mike Grimm is complaining about. They called on Darrell Williams. This is what's called a waggle. They put everybody to the right so he can have more time. He buys time rolling to the right. He throws the ball back, coming over the top. That's Mike Grimm. It should have been on, not number 31. But again, see, look where he is. He's at about the 44-yard line. So even if Brim does not make the play, he makes the catch as 4th down. That's an unfortunate choice on the part of Brim. Let him catch it, knock him down, make him kick.
Automatic first down to 42. Here is the reverse to Fred Jones. He's going to pick up close to 10 yards on the reverse. Ricardo McDonald makes the tackle. Alex Gordon thought that he had him, and he slipped out of his grasp. So So it's going to be second down and about a yard to go for the first down.
Costly penalty for the Cincinnati Bengals because now the momentum shifts to Kansas City. They go with the reverse after the penalty. Good call on the part of Paul Hackett to shake things up and try to get something big to happen, and he almost busted a big one.
Second down and 1. And here is Marcus Allen. And he has the first down, 27-yard line.
I'm interested to ask you something, Charlie, with regards to Marcus. You felt that at age 33, you think he can still carry the ball 20 times a game and still be the featured back.
Yes.
Even though Marty Schottenheimer told us that he took into account his age and also took into account that over the last 2 seasons he didn't have the wear and tear in his body.
Yes.
You're saying you disagree with Marty?
Yes. I think he could be a featured back. I think he'd be first down back. I think you can feature him, and he can run 18 to 20 times a game.
Well, in this offense, it's not going to be a situation where he's going to carry the ball 30 times a game like the old Kansas City offense.
No, but, if they run the 49ers offense, like when they had run like a Roger Craig and feature him 20 times a game, he could do it. And here is the pass is dumped off to Andrews, and he just keeps going. 9-yard line. Kimball Andrews, 18 yards on the play. Alfred Williams finally pulls him down. And now the crowd into the ball game here at Arrowhead Stadium.
I mentioned earlier Kimball Anders showing his wares. Similar situation earlier in the game when he had a 28-yard catch. It looks almost identical. Cuts back to the middle after catching the little flat route. Makes the big yardage and makes the Cincinnati Bengals pay for that blitz. You're right, Dave. That was a first down.
First down and goal to go. The ball just inside the 10-yard line. And here is Marcus Allen. Cuts back to the right. Hedrick scores.
101, Charlie. Touchdown number 101.
Marcus Allen scoring from 9 yards out. And that will tie him with Franco Harris for 8th place. Does it jump over? We have that list and we'll show that to you.
Interesting point that just as you say he's good enough to be the featured back, he busted his number 101.
Well, he earned it. Oh. And Nick Lowry adds the point after. And for the first time in the ball game, Kansas City has the lead.
Here's something you want to see, something you can't teach. Watch the move at the 3-yard line. Right here. Goodbye. Touchdown, Chiefs. Bad judgment on the part of Mike Grimm set up this touchdown for Marcus Allen. You recall 3rd and 20, they had a situation where if he just makes the catch, they can stuff him, and there it is. But Marcus Allen instead has his 101st touchdown as a result of a mistake by the Cincinnati defense.
And now Nick Lowry will be kicking off to either Eric Ball or Patrick Robinson. And it is taken to the 12-yard line by Eric Ball. And Ball across the 30, now to the 35, and dumped at the 36-yard line. The mistake by Mike Grimm, and then the Kansas City. Now we've got some pushing and shoving, a little extracurricular activity going on. It's broken up very quickly. But the mistake by Grimm set it up, in Kansas City, though, immediately capitalized.
Great job on the part of the offensive line, but watch at the 3-yard line, the little subtle move Marcus Allen puts on Mike Grimm. He thinks he's going right, and all of a sudden, watch the plant. Pow! Cuts back against the grain and goes in standing up.
Now, hold that graphic. Let's come back to that after this play so we can really look at it, because we're set to go here at the 35-yard line. Because there's an interesting note on the touchdowns that have been scored in the National Football League. Official spotted at the 35-yard line. First down for Cincinnati. And Harold Green is going to pick up about 7 yards on the play. And now we'll go back to the touchdowns. Now notice Jim Brown, Walter Payton, John Riggs, 116. We were talking on the plane, John Riggins, we were talking on the plane a couple of days ago, and that if, you know, Marcus had the 3 years with the Raiders when he simply didn't play that much, and if he had played, he's averaging around
11 touchdowns
a game.
He could
11 touchdowns a season.
He could, so 11 touchdowns a season,
yeah,
right? He could conceivably be in the top 3 right now.
Oh yes.
Notice, too, that every single person on this list is either a Hall of Famer or a certain Hall of Famer.
And here is Green, jumps to the outside. He's got the first down. And now for an update, let's go to New York City. Gentlemen.
It was tackled by Doug Terry.
All right, Charlie, we told you about the injury to Dan Marino. It took place on this play in the first half against Cleveland, apparently a non-contact injury before he was hit. And now we have the final determination. It is indeed a torn right Achilles. Dan Marino has been told by doctors that after 145 consecutive non-strike starts with the Dolphins, he's through for the year. Scott Mitchell is the new QB. Back to Charlie and Todd.
That is absolutely huge.
Ooh, man.
That 145 starts is amazing. A real credit to his durability.
Now going for it all to Pickens, and it is incomplete. Carl Pickens, the intended receiver, and David Whitmore had the coverage for Kansas City. I am stunned.
Well, I'm sure
about Dan Marino.
And so is the organization.
Oh, man, yes.
Here's a classic case of the ball being catchable. Watch Whitmore run into Pickens here before the ball arrives. Right there, he knocks him down, but the ball's nowhere close, and so as a result, there is no interference.
And if it had been a catchable ball, then it would have been pass interference.
Yep.
Second down and 10, a good none call.
I'm thinking that outside of Barry Sanders for Detroit, no one person is more important to his team.
And here is Green to the right side, and he's going to the 49-yard line. I would have to sit down and go through what John Elway.
John Elway, right? Okay.
You know, immediately comes to mind.
But I mean, when it's almost as if 145 consecutive starts. You know, the guy that's second is somewhere in the 60s in terms of quarterbacks. It's almost as if you just assume that this guy was, you know, he was impregnable.
Yeah,
yes, exactly.
Yeah. Third down and 9. Kansas City now leading Cincinnati by a score of 14-12.
And again, as we look at Montana, you parallel that with Marino, and it reinforces the point. You've got to have two guys that can play.
You've got to have a quality quarterback that can play. Klinger has pressure. He goes deep, and he overthrows everybody. And he was simply running out of time. And it will be fourth down. The attendance here today, 75,394. 75394 at Arrowhead Stadium.
8 for Kansas City, J.J. Burton.
So Lee Johnson will be kicking. The return man is now J.J. Burton for Kansas City.
Wondering if Carter got hurt, because the 2 times that he returned, he had excellent returns, with the exception of course, that fumble. Good catch.
This one hangs up, and he wants to stay away from it. And it will go out of bounds. So we'll step aside with Kansas City leading by 2, 14-12. Now trailing, but they have had bigger opportunities, but they've only been able to convert 4 field goals. They have yet to score a touchdown.
Yeah, if you figure in scoring opportunities, they're ahead 4-2, but on the scoreboard it's 14-12. And again, that's the bane of the National Football League right now, is the inability to get it in the end zone once you're in. And I say this because you said it first, the green zone, not the red zone, because the green zone is money.
First down.
Kansas City will start now from their own 16-yard line with a first down, and we have 3 minutes and 54 seconds. That is the time remaining in the third quarter. And here is Kimball Andrews, and he is across the 25 to the 26-yard line. May pick up the first down en route. He has had an outstanding afternoon.
Really has. Free agent from Houston.
Ricardo McDonald and Darrell Williams were there for Cincinnati. Here's another look.
Alfred Williams cuts up field in the pass rush mode, and that creates the big gap for Anders to take advantage of. And the run support by the secondary of Cincinnati is a little too late to prevent the first down. Excuse me, they were a little bit short, about a half yard.
4 rushes, 25 yards.
Not a bad average per carry.
No. And 3 receptions for 55 yards. So add that into the mix. And Marcus Allen, the ball carrier. And don't forget to stay with us throughout the afternoon, as coming up next, most of you to see the New York Jets and the Los Angeles Raiders from the Coliseum, and also several of you to see the San Diego game at Pittsburgh. John Free starting at quarterback. Stan Humphrey still bothered by shoulder injury.
He's already admitted that that's something he doesn't think is going to go away during the season. He's just got to live with the pain.
He was hit a couple of times in preseason play.
But we saw Freeze, of course, you and I earlier, lead San Diego to a victory over the Houston Oilers, so he's certainly capable.
In that same situation, 2 good quarterbacks downfield, knocked away. Good defensive play. Rod Jones makes the play on Willie Davis.
Early in the season, Rod Jones took a lot of abuse because it seemed like he was getting burned constantly. But today, we've called Willie Davis as #1, I believe, with 1 catch for about a 9-yard hook right there, stride for stride, with one of the fastest guys in the National Football League. Of course, you'll remember that Rod Jones is the one that collared Bo Jackson from behind on one of his nearly 90-yard runs there in the Coliseum. In fact, you and I called
That's right. And Bo got up to run. What's that?
Yeah. Are you kidding?
Second down and 10. Here's a sweep to the left side. Anders the ball carrier. And he turns the corner, and we're going to turn the corner and head to New York for an update.
Kimball Anders, the ball carrier.
Prediction, Charlie and Todd, the Dolphins can still win the AFC East if Scott Mitchell is as good as Dan Marino. Good enough on the first drive of the second half. 6-play, 60-yard drive ends in that 19-yard Mitchell to Tony Martin touchdown pass. First TD pass of Scott Mitchell's career. Miami leads 17-14. Back to Kansas City.
Well, if Miami is to go on and win, it will be, I think, more the coaching of the head man than it will be the arm of the quarterback.
Well, give the young man credit.
Oh, no, that's true.
I mean, you got to come.
But he is no Dan Marino.
Yeah, well, okay.
But who is?
Who is?
Who is?
Yeah.
Who is? That's right. Here's a little swing to right side, and it is Anders again. And he is across the 50-yard line. Or is that Todd McNair? It will go for a gain of 16 on the play. No, it's Kimball Anders.
You know what I don't understand, Charlie? It's not as if he's running these really creative patterns. It's not like he's running a corner or something really clever. Look at this. It's just a flat route. But for whatever reason, they opt not to cover him. People are running downfield. Lance Gunn, you saw with his back turn, isn't up the field. And now here he's had 4 catches for nearly 70 yards, and all it's been has been in the flat. Nothing special.
And he is a very tough runner. You get him a little space to operate. First down, 50-yard line. And here is Marcus Allen. He's going to have a yard. So Marcus, second down and 9 at the 49-yard line of the Cincinnati Bengals. When we talked with Marcus, we asked him, why did you come to Kansas City? And he said, well, 2 reasons. He said, one, it was a good deal. And he said the other was Marty Schottenheimer. He said he was the most persistent of everybody. And he said, I came here and I feel very comfortable. I enjoy my teammates. I love the community. And I'm very comfortable here. And like you said, he said, I'm having a lot of fun.
He did say deal first. You noticed that?
Of course. Well, it's a business. Greg to throw. Scrambles out to the right. Ball slips out of his hand. Oh, they're going to rule it a forward pass. It'll be incomplete.
How many times have we seen that happen with Dave Craig? Always the argument about how his hands are so small. Watch here. Nobody hits him.
No, he just slips away.
The arm is going forward, but you could argue as the ball came out that that's actually a fumble as opposed to an incomplete pass. But Anders recovered it anyway, so no harm, no foul.
So mark the ball again at the Cincinnati 49-yard line. And it is third down and 9. And here is pressure. And Craig goes down.
Pressure is right. Whoa, they came with
everybody.
The veritable kitchen sink.
And Tim Crumry was the man who got to it.
7 men coming. Look at all the people at the line of scrimmage. Here we come. Yikes. Gets 1 man, but he spins away right into the arms of Crumry. Daniel Stubbs forcing the play, but Crumry picking up the garbage.
And we'll take the countdown to the end of the third quarter. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. The city is kicking. And here is Patrick Robinson. He accepts the fair catch at the 11-yard line. Let's go to New York City for an update.
Mitchell, Charlie Jones, Keith Jackson playing for the Dolphins. All hands on deck as the Dolphins try to recover without Marino and Offerdahl, who went down a little while ago. But that's Keith Jackson's 4th touchdown of the year from 3 yards out. Gives Miami a 24-14 lead. Charlie?
maybe I was wrong. Maybe Scott Mitchell is Dan Marino. Oh.
Former University of Utah grad from Springville, Utah.
Oh, no wonder.
Doing it.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, no wonder you'd save that for
Yes,
him.
indeed. Nice fellow.
All right, let's see what Cincinnati can do. They now trail 14-12. A lot of time remaining in the ballgame. And the inside handoff to Derek Finner, and Tracy Rogers makes the tackle.
Another thing quickly about Mitchell, which is interesting, Charlie. We commented earlier about Klingler in the pocket. Mitchell 6'6" and 235. That is a big body to play quarterback.
That is. Second down and 7.
A lot of time, as you mentioned. Cincinnati doesn't have to panic here and throw. They're down by 2. Plenty of time to reestablish that running game that worked so well for him in the first quarter.
You can see more than 14 minutes remaining. Klingler's pass is incomplete. He throws behind Jeff Ford. And it's going to be third down and 7 and the ball at the 14-yard line. So all of a sudden, Cincinnati faces one of those offensive crossroads in the ballgame, third down and 7, and you have a feeling that they must convert here, because if they kick, Kansas City is going to have very good field position. Not only that, they'll have a chance to take a lot of time off of the clock.
Well, they certainly open themselves up for second guessing there. You know, they're running the ball fairly effectively, and they're down far in their own end of the field. Why are you going to run a risky pass like that? Run the ball again, see what you can do. Plus, you've got the young quarterback.
Klingler to throw. 3-step drop, pass is complete, and it's going to be a first down. He goes to Craig Thompson, the number 2 tight end, who picks up the first down at the 23 of the 24-yard line.
Well, he's the number 2 tight end, but he is their pass catcher, and this is about the third time on third down he's come up with a big catch to deliver the first for him. Number 48 finds a seam with the zone, settles down, and gets the first.
And Dave Shula enjoying that first down as the Bengals converted on 3rd and 7.
You know, for a team that's 0-4, the head coach, he was surprisingly loose, wasn't
Yes, he was. He said, we're going back to the basics, and we're going to have a lot of fun. Let's see what we can do. And they certainly have played well today.
You know, in fairness to them, too, you have to figure the Cincinnati Bengals coming in. What do they have to lose? Kansas City is the one that everybody's favorite, and as you mentioned, prohibitive favorite, 16 points.
16 points coming into the ballgame. But there's a reason for that, and that is that there are a tremendous amount of people that feel that Kansas City is a much better football team than Cincinnati, but not today, not so far.
Certainly not.
No, they have played them head up. Bengals down by 2, 14-12. We're moving on the 13-minute mark, time remaining in the ballgame, and it's second down and 8. Klingler to throw. Little sidearm pass, and it is complete to Derek Finner. And he is going to be down around the 30-yard line. So we'll come out. It'll be third down and short. Albert Lewis making the tackle for Kansas City. Check of the 10-minute ticker, and you see the Miami-Cleveland score. And we just had the update in New York. And Chicago well out in front of Philadelphia. Dallas well out in front of the Colts. And the Giants well out in front of Washington.
It's a big surprise.
Yes, it is. Minnesota leading Tampa Bay. And the sidearm pass for the first down, and again it is Craig Thompson. So David Klingler has picked out his favorite receiver, and his last name is Thompson.
You know, it's interesting that earlier we were talking about Anders in a simple route. Watch the right of your screen. He just takes about a 3-yard out. It's in man coverage. You've got 3rd and 4. You got to have tighter coverage than that on the tight end. It's just that's a gimme. That's throw and catch. I believe that isn't that Thompson's 4th catch today already?
Yes, it is, and spot the ball at the 36-yard line. So twice in this drive, the Bengals have converted on third down. Goes deep, and he overthrows Tony McGee. And we'll bring that one back to the 36-yard line, and it's second down and 10. Now he's committed to the pass for the next 2 downs. And I'm surprised they're throwing on first down, because again, they've been so successful running on first down and running and then throwing for the short one on third down.
Touch pass here. He has man-for-man coverage with the tight end and the linebacker. Of course, you can see Martz hitting him well after the ball is gone. Overthrown by about 3 yards.
Second down and 10. 11:36 left to go. Kansas City leads it 14-12. Here's Precious, steps away, flag is down. He runs for the first down and out of bounds, but they will probably bring it back. Usually when the flag is dropped, it will be holding against the offense. No, it's going to be a face mask. A face mask against Cincinnati.
Well, they shifted Derek Thomas over to the left side instead of the right, and they did not have the double team, and he just blew by Joe Walter. And once again, the toughness of Klingler. Thomas, untouched, hits him, and the guy stays on his feet and runs for the first, even though it's not going to count.
Bernie Kukar is the referee, waiting upon his call. And the official decision by the officials. Clock is stopped with 11:28 left to go. Here it is.
Incidental face mask on the offense, number 66, the right tackle. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot.
That is on Dan Jones. He is the rookie free agent from Maine.
Watch Thomas just blow by him. He's never seen quite that kind of speed. There it is right there. He has the face mask at the end. Thomas falls off of Klingler. Good call by the official. That's a handful. They shift sides. What's your choice? Pick your poison. If it's not Neil Smith, then it's going to be Derek Thomas. That's tough.
Second down and 15 with the ball at the Cincinnati 31-yard line. And here is Finner on the right side out to the 41-yard line. He's going to pick up about 10 yards on the play. So it'll be third down and either 5 or 6 yards to go for the first down. And Martin Bayless makes the tackle.
Good call by Mike Pope. Everybody up there anticipating the pass. Got a little crease, had some people run blocking, and now a very makeable 3rd and 5.
So for the 3rd time in the drive, Cincinnati needs to convert on 3rd down. 10 minutes and 44 seconds of counting time remaining in the game. Again, the Bengals down by 2, and now the crowd trying to get back into the ballgame. But they've not been as loud as we expected them to be. Here's Klingler. Has pressure, throws it, it's complete, and it is a first down. And this time it is Reggie Rimber, who against the Seattle Seahawks became Mr. Third Down in that offense that the offensive set that he comes into. Second time in the ballgame, he's been very effective in this game.
Remember here on the crossing route, he lost the receiver, lost the defender that time. This time Kevin Ross is with him, makes the tackle, but not before Rimber stretches out that 6'5" frame and gets the Bengals the first.
So the ball at the Cincinnati 47-yard line and a first down 3 times in the drive. The Bengals converting on 3rd down. And now they go back to the ground, and here's Green. There's nothing there for Harold Green. It'll be 2nd down and 10. And remember that Doug Belfry, the field goal kicker for the Cincinnati Bengals, who had been struggling the early part of the season, is 4 for 4 in this ball game, including hitting from 47 yards away. And the margin, 2 points, 14-12, Kansas City out in front, now with 9.5 left to go.
I don't know if I'd say the crowd is sitting on pins and needles, but you can sense a little anxiousness. You know, like, come on, when are these guys going to self-destruct? And they really haven't.
They have not. Here's another pass that is complete to Carl Pickens.
Once again, it sets up a very makeable 3rd and short. I'm impressed with the composure of Klingler. This is now, what, his 9th NFL start?
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken.
That is right. That is right.
You know,
and he has completed 14 of 27 for 130 yards. The numbers, though, don't tell the story of how he has stood in the pocket with the pressure and has been hit and going down and either has run for yardage or he is thrown under a tremendous amount of pressure. 3rd down and 2. And here comes Neil Smith. The question is, was he drawn off? And for the reaction of the Bengals, they say yes.
Number 66 on the offense, 5-yard penalty prior to the snap.
And that is on Dan Jones, the right tackle.
The beleaguered Dan Jones. I mean, if you talk about a baptism in the league, look at how far he is off the line as it is. They can actually call that. There's the flinch.
There's the flinch. And you just cannot do it. You simply cannot do it.
I'm not going to go so far as to say that this is the hardest position to play in the National Football League, offensive tackle. But along with quarterback, it's got to be close.
It is.
Now you've got all these 4 or 5 guys that weigh 250, 260 pounds rushing upfield. It's a tough gig, man.
3rd down and 7. And the pass is complete, and here is the first down and cutting downfield is Jeff Quarry.
Great call by Mike Pope, the offensive coordinator.
24 yards.
The flanker screen, he cuts underneath. Watch the left of your screen. He's going to throw quickly. Look, they run right out to block. Thompson gets a block. Walter gets a block. And Quarry has some great speed, 4.35, even though he's only 165 pounds. Big first down for the Bengals. And once again, another huge third down conversion.
4th time in the drive that Cincinnati has converted on third down. 3rd down and 7, 3rd down and 4, 3rd down and 5, 3rd down and 7. And here is Green. He's going to backpedal to about the 22 or the 23-yard line.
Now, it's important here for Cincinnati, and I know that this isn't the mindset of the Cognoscenti up in the booth, but the players cannot think right now, okay, we're in field goal range, we're okay. A lot of times you get that feeling down here instead of saying, look, let's keep doing with what we've been doing. Let's see if we can get it in the end zone. There's a natural tendency to relax because now we're in field goal range. I don't think the Bengals can afford that now with Nick Lowry on the other sideline.
2nd down and 6. 22-yard line. Green jumps to the outside. He will lean inside the 24. Let's call it, or rather inside the 20 to the 18-yard line. Lonnie March and Kevin Ross make the tackle. Show you how effective Harold Green has been today with 65 yards rushing against 57 for the rest of the year.
Now, interesting, 2 weeks ago when the Cincinnati Bengals played the Seattle Seahawks, they were tied for last in the league in third down efficiency and their effectiveness. Today on this drive, as you mentioned, a perfect 4 for 4.
3rd down and 3. And Green, it is going to be close. He needed 3, and it is right on the mark.
Well, one thing you'd have to say for the Cincinnati Bengal offense, it certainly is not predictable.
No, it is not, and now we'll have the official timeout, and the change will come out for the measurement to see if Cincinnati was able to convert 5 of 5 third down opportunities on the drive. And it is just shy. It is going to be 4th down and inches. Oh, tough decision. No. Decision is made. Here's Doug Belfry. They will go with the field goal to try and take a 1-point lead.
You agree?
Yes.
The way they've been running the ball those last 3 plays?
Yes. And I tell you why I agree, because Dave Shula had made up his mind to go with this, and 2 weeks ago he changed his mind. There was indecision and it fell apart on him. He made up his mind. Go for it. 24-yard line, an attempt of 34 yards for the lead. And it is up, and it is good from 34 yards away. And Cincinnati moves back in front of Kansas City by 1, 15-14.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Budweiser, fresh, pure, natural, proud to be your bud. By Napa, we keep America running. By Acura, who invites you to test drive the new 1994 Acura Integra. And by Coca-Cola Classic, always the real thing, always Coca-Cola.
5 minutes and 59 seconds. That is the time remaining in the ball game here at Arrowhead Stadium. And the Cincinnati Bengals lead the Kansas City Chiefs 15-14. And Lee Johnson had a great hole that we'll show you on the field goal kicks out. And here is Fred Jones back in the ball game on the return team. He's the 25 across the 30 and down to the 33-yard line. We're going to step aside for a moment, but we'll be back. Don't go away.
Johnson, you can see the punting numbers, fabulous. 48-6 on 4 kicks, a 60-yarder. But here's what he did. Take a look at the hold here. Watch the snap by Kozerski a little to the right. He catches it, picks it up, comes off his hip and sets it down. A lot of times you don't notice that there are 2 other people involved in that field goal kick, and if Johnson doesn't make that great catch, that kick doesn't go through.
Kansas City first down. Just outside their own 32-yard line. Greg, he goes deep, far side, has a man, and it is complete. J.J. Burton. And here come the Kansas City Chiefs. And all of a sudden, 75,000 fans are back in the ballgame. 39-yard line of Cincinnati.
J.J. Bird to the right of your screen has a little bit of an out-and-up move. Willie Davis clears it out with the streak route. There he is, Rod Jones in the trail position. Definitely got fooled on that play.
And very quickly, a gain of 28 yards. And a first down at the Cincinnati 39-yard line. And Craig hands off to Marcus Allen. 31-yard line. Gain of 8, second down and 2.
Ricardo McDonald, you see, not too happy about that. Marcus Allen cutting to the middle of the field.
Losing his shoe coming out, and Harvey Williams comes in.
Once again, the offensive line creating the holes for him. And I mentioned before that I thought he might have lost a step, but it doesn't look like his quickness is that bad. Nice cutback there. Interesting. Look at the shoe there. You see all the normal brands there. That's just kind of a funky line as he drives through there. That's very funny.
Second down and 2. And here is Williams, a straight shot. And now Kansas City has gone to power football. And a first down at the 27-yard line of Cincinnati. Check of the clock. 4 minutes and 11 seconds and counting, time remaining in the ballgame. Cincinnati by 1, 15-14.
Well, unlike Cincinnati, you know, coming into this game, we mentioned the problems of Belfry. Needless to say, the kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs has no such problems. An 80% career kicker. A lot of times you can actually see the Kansas City offense playing for the field goal because they're that secure and confident in Lowry's ability.
And here is Marcus Allen again. Comes to the outside. Little stutter step. Cuts back in. Slides to the 22-yard line. Not a lot there, and he's going to pick up 4 or 5 yards. That's Marcus Allen. Next weekend, don't miss the Skills Challenge presented by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. 8 of golf's top players will be going head-to-head in driving, the short game, iron shots, bunker shots, trouble shots, and putting. That's all next week here on NBC. That's a lot of fun to watch. And this is a lot of fun to watch. What is going to happen? Clock is stopped now with 3:24. That is the time remaining in the ball game. And Cincinnati up by 1, 15-14.
Strange feeling in this game, and I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that everybody just assumed Cincinnati was going to come over and just get hammered. And here they've been extremely competitive. It's been great.
We'll be back in just a moment. The Raiders are San Diego at Pittsburgh. But right now we have 3:19 and counting, the time remaining here at Arrowhead Stadium. Kansas City trailing by 1, 15-14. They have a 2nd and 6 at the 23-yard line of the Bengals. And we have flags on the play. And Marcus Allen gets the call.
You mentioned David Klingler didn't want to use the excuse of youth.
Yes, offside Cincinnati.
But here, you know, the mental errors are just, it's unconscionable at this point. Here you've got a situation, you've got second, you know, and about 7. Why give them a free 5 yards at this point? It's just not good. Just can't do that.
Offside on the defense, number 94. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
That's on Alfred Williams. One of the things, you know, Kansas City has been up amongst the leaders, if not the leader, in penalties this season. They've been trying to cut them down, particularly last week. They had no penalties in the first half, and they've had very few penalties in this ballgame.
Well, Cincinnati hasn't been all that penalized today, but of course that one absolutely gigantic.
See, there's the way they try to. Remember, we talked to him when he asked Marty Schottenheimer about. He had the numbers. The numbers are this, and the yardage is that, and he knew immediately. And they've really been working on that. Second down and a yard for the first down. And Marcus just trying to slice across and pick it up. And the officials want to take a look at a measurement. The last timeout we had called, the injury timeout, was Dave Zott in that offensive line of Kansas City. And he has an injured knee, will not return. Reggie McElroy has replaced him. And we will take a commercial timeout and be back in a moment. Nick Lowry on the sideline, the field goal kicker for Kansas City, has been loosening up during the timeout. He was out. He was about 8-9 yards out on the field, looking around, coming back, checking the wind, getting ready. One of the best kickers in history of the National Football League. Third down, and still a yard to go for the first down. And over the top, is Marcus Allen, and he may not have made it.
Great.
And now Cincinnati wants to stop the clock.
And that was a great job by Alfred Williams submarining underneath. Marcus Allen, we've seen time and time again be able to vault over the top. He was famous for that in the middle 80s with the Raiders. All those touchdowns. He took a shot on that leg. Great job by Williams. And I think you're right. I think he is. Well, he's definitely short.
Yes. He may have lost about half a yard. So it is 4th down. And a couple of yards to go. And you look for the field goal attempt from the 26-yard line, an attempt at 36 yards.
This is heads up, too, on the part of David Shula to not let them bleed the clock down to the 2-minute warning, because now even if he does make the field goal, there'll be, what, 6 seconds come off the clock. They'll get the ball back with about 2:30 left, hopefully with a decent return, plenty of time to get in field goal position of their own.
And they have one, they being Cincinnati, 1 timeout remaining. The Kansas City Chiefs have 3 timeouts remaining.
You mentioned
2:47.
I wanted to make the point with regards to Nick Lowry. He has so many things that he does before the kick. Look at where he is, how far away he is. You know how some kickers are a little bit nervous. They don't want to draw attention to themselves. He's just the opposite.
Oh, he loves it.
Oh, man, does he love the
By the way, he has scored at this point in his career 1,399 points. And if he is successful here, he reaches the 1,400 plateau. Here it is. And it is up. And it is good.
Now 1,402. As we did with the Cincinnati Bengals, let's also give credit to the punter for the Kansas City Chiefs, Brian Barker, with another good catch. The hike by Grunhard is just a little bit off, but he makes a nice catch and hold.
And with the field goal by Nick Lowry, the Kansas City Chiefs have moved out in front of the Cincinnati Bengals. 17-15 with still a lot of time remaining. 2:43 left to go. Let's take another look.
Watch the catch by Barker. Look at that, right on the ground. If he doesn't make that catch, it skips up into his leg, but Lowry knows it's good. You know what? 80% for his career, I think it's time to do something. One of 2 things. We either narrow the goalposts now because the kickers are so good, or widen the hash marks again. Or if not do that, then how about this if the kickers are going to be this involved? What do you think about a 4-point field goal on the 35-yard line? So we don't have the addition, don't have the overtimes.
Well, here's the reaction first of Dave Shula. Yeah, it's good. Oh,
You knew that was going to be good.
Yeah.
That's why you called the timeout, David. You knew he wasn't going to hit that one. You knew, or rather, you knew he was going to hit that one.
I mean, only long-distance field goals, 11 count 4 points.
35 and beyond are 4 points. So you come down, it's 20-17. You've got a great kicker. So you just set yourself up with a 35-yard line, and you roll the dice, so to speak. Go for all the marbles. I mean, because people are talking about now that field goals are just, there's way too many of them now. You know, the game's being decided.
All-time point leaders, George Blanda, Jan Stenerud, who, by the way, is here for the ball game. Part of the alumni of Kansas City. Pat Leahy, the great Jim Turner. And now Nick Lowry.
I was about to say 2 of those people in the Hall of Fame. Jan Stenerud, the only pure kicker in the National Football League Hall of Fame. Lowry could be next.
And Lowry kicks on. And here is Patrick Robinson on the return. And he's out to the 18-yard line. And stay with us here on NBC tonight. Of course, stay with us this afternoon for the second half of the doubleheader. And then tonight, Eyewitness Video and Sequest here on NBC. And now the defense of the Kansas City Chiefs wants the crowd to really become involved and try to disrupt the offense of Cincinnati as they start from their own 19-yard line with 2:34 left, and they trail by 2. They need to get within field goal range for Doug Belfry to see if he can go 6%. Klingler's pass over the middle is to Derek Finner, and Finner is very quickly out to the 33-yard line, and that all of a sudden quiets the crowd. First down, Cincinnati.
Klingler hammered by Derek Thomas on the play, but he stood tall in the pocket.
And he is pulled down to the 29-yard line. He'll lose 4. It'll be 2nd and 14. Saliamua got it. That's the first time he has really been effective since very early in the ballgame. It looked as if Dan was going to take over the ballgame.
First 2 plays of the game, he made tackles for losses, but the quick swim move, he's able to get by the left guard, make a big play. 2-minute warning. We'll be back.
Immediately following this ball game, we have another good one for you. You'll see either the New York Jets and the Los Angeles Raiders, or the San Diego-Pittsburgh game. Kansas City 17, Cincinnati 15, 2 minutes to go. And now all of a sudden the chop has appeared.
Yeah,
Now,
sure.
Where were you? Where were you earlier when we needed you?
Well, certainly in vogue, as you mentioned, the success of the Seminoles and the Braves.
But let's not overlook the success of the Cincinnati Bengals this afternoon. They have played well, and they have certainly quieted the crowd.
And speaking of the Braves, it's nice to have you now full-time football after your baseball season.
Oh, I really enjoyed it with the Colorado Rockies. What a great organization. Talk about the fans. I mean, we almost 4.5 million. Dwayne Kuiper, my broadcast partner, and I, we had such a tremendous time in meeting all the people in the Rocky Mountain area. And the organization that Jerry McMorris is putting together, it is going to be outstanding. They're going to contend a lot sooner than anybody would imagine. Klingler steps away. Now he is being chased. And now he heads for the sidelines. That'll stop the clock. He couldn't find anybody open, and rather than make a mistake, he goes out of bounds with Tim Newton in pursuit.
Dave Adolph, defensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs, pushing all the right buttons at this point. Now 3rd and long. Kidded with him yesterday about, hey, you're a coaching genius now, leading the league in all those different categories, but he demurred to that and said, stop messing with me, Todd. But he is a great defensive coach. Followed Marty from Cleveland after a short stint with the Los Angeles Raiders.
3rd down and 14. It's incomplete. It will be 4th down. And, of course, Cincinnati will go for it.
And, again, the inexperience of the young quarterback here. The blitz comes. You got to stand in there, throw it long, take your chances. 4th and 14. You can't like your chances with that. Because even if he catches the ball, it's only a 4-yard gain.
Harold Green checks into the offensive set. Time remaining. The pressure from the outside, and there's the sack. And Martin Bayless, the free safety, got it. And so Kansas City will take over on downs, needing only now to run out the clock. And Cincinnati has 1 timeout remaining. And the line of scrimmage just inside the 24.
Game effort by that young man nonetheless. He's got nothing to hang his head about. One of the 2 or 3 best defenses in the National Football League, and he almost brought his team to a victory. Here comes Martin Bayless on the blitz. Nobody touches him. Number 30 from the left of your screen. Klingler is arguing about trying to comment on what he could or couldn't have done, but the reality there is that he had no place to go.
And here is Anders. And now Kansas City content just to run out the clock. And it is now time for the Hager Wrinkle-Free Cotton Super play of the game.
I don't know if I go so far as to say it was super, but it certainly is going to be the winner for the Kansas City Chiefs. Nick Lowry, as he has done so many times before, with a big field goal, in this case, to go over 1,400 points in his career. Number 5 all-time in the NFL. That is our Hager Wrinkle-Free Cotton's super play of the game.
That put the Kansas City Chiefs out in front of Cincinnati for only the 2nd time in the ballgame by a score of 17-15. We now have 1:38 left to go, and the Cincinnati Bengals are out of timeouts. And I tell you one thing, this young man, David Klingler, he's looking good. He is improving, like you said. He hasn't really had that many starts. In reality, he's still involved in what would be your rookie year with a very young ball club. And he made some excellent plays.
Yeah, I think that he certainly proved himself today. People were wondering whether or not you could justify making him the 6th pick of the draft, but I think he's proved today that he belongs.
Yes. And now just to run out the clock. Our statistician, Swede Mom, our spotters, Don and Phil Wilsey. Thank you, gentlemen. It's great to work with you here. And don't forget, coming up next here on NBC, the New York Jets and the Los Angeles Raiders, or San Diego at Pittsburgh. The executive producer of NBC Sports is Tom Roy. The coordinating producer of NFL football on NBC is John Francis. Today's game produced by Bill Bonnell and directed by Andy Rosenberg. NFL Live was produced by Ricky Diamond. NFL Live was directed by Kelly Atkinson. Our TDs, Mitch Geller and Richard Sansevier. So thanks to everybody as we'll take the official countdown with 1 minute remaining to put it in the record book. The Kansas City Chiefs defeating the Cincinnati Bengals by a score of 17-15. And for Kansas City, the record now will go to 4-1. And for Dave Shula and the Cincinnati Bengals, their record goes to 0-5. They're still looking for that elusive first victory of this season.
That's got to be frustrating. It really does. Especially today. It's one of those deals where, as they say in baseball, you get blown out, you're not as upset. But in this case, certainly they had a lot of opportunities to win. If one of those 5 field goals turns into a touchdown, they do win. But coulda, woulda, shoulda, right?
And you could say Kansas City wins by 2. However, it was the game was much closer than the score.
I agree.
Because Cincinnati certainly gave the Kansas City Chiefs all that they could possibly want on this Sunday afternoon here at Arrowhead. So we'll take the official countdown. The officials now have stopped the clock with 9 seconds remaining.
Well, that was, Charlie, that was 4th down by the Chiefs. You know, they didn't want to take a chance on a blocked field goal, so they just decided to kneel down, so they'll give Cincinnati 1 throw at the end zone. You never know.
That's true. That is true. I lost count as they were kneeling down. I think they should have sucker run on out. So Dave Shula will look on, and we will have 1, possibly 2 more plays remaining. Without going back and running through the numbers with Cincinnati only a timeout, I'm surprised that Kansas City couldn't have run the clock all the way down.
Well, now they actually gave him another 3 seconds, so quite possibly, depending upon where this throw goes, they might have 2 tries at it.
So trips with 3 wide receivers on the near side. And Klingler from the shotgun. And this is high and wobbly and underthrown, and it is intercepted. Charles Mincy with the interception. And the clock is stopped on the turnover with 1 second left in the ball game. And so in a ball game that 59 seconds ago we thought that Kansas City had in the bank, has taken an interminable amount of time to reach its conclusion.
You know, and that man right there, Marty Schottenheimer, isn't very happy with himself in terms of time management. You know, the kneeling down, if they would have actually run plays into the line, they could have bled the clock completely. You know, have a guy go to the right or to the left, and as I say, it hasn't come back to haunt them at all. But certainly he can't be too pleased that they had 12 seconds there at the end, because if he just runs someplace, he could have run it out completely.
And so now this will make it official. Kansas City 17 and Cincinnati 15. Once again, the final score from Arrowhead Stadium. Kansas City Chiefs 17, the Cincinnati Bengals 15. Coming up next on most of these NBC stations, game 2 of our NFL doubleheader. Most of you to see the Los Angeles Raiders host the New York Jets, and some of you to see the San Diego Chargers battle the Pittsburgh Steelers. Todd Christensen, I'm Charlie Jones. You've been watching NBC Sports coverage of the National Football League.